so I'd like everybody to have a seat. We have to get going. We got a lot going on tonight. We got to stick to the schedule. We want to be fair to all our candidates tonight and all our speakers, so please get a seat. My name is Steve Redmond. I'm president of the Ottawa County Patriots, and it is our custom, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would please rise. In our group, we don't kneel for the flag. We stand for the flag and we kneel for God. Coleman Kaepernick is now welcome here.
I'd like to introduce real quickly Brandon and Deidre Barber, some of our folks from church. There's 6 children. Brandon's a Marine vet because he couldn't get in the Air Force. And so
You're glad I'm not quick-witted.
Go ahead, Barbers, lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's have a word of prayer. Father, I want to say thank you for your goodness to us, and I mean that. Lord, to think that we are privileged to be born in America, the singularly greatest nation in the history of this world. You have blessed her singularly, but you've given to us a stewardship, responsibilities to work out the blessings that you've worked in. So, Lord, I pray for tonight that you would be in the forefront of all our hearts and minds. I think of these candidates. I'm sure they're a bit nervous, and yet you would calm them, comfort them, and realize what they're doing is exactly the right thing, and to give them that boldness to pronounce their positions and to stand for that which is right. And Lord, that you would help us to recapture what's been lost. Father, I love you. I thank you for the Lord Jesus Christ, and a simple act of faith can secure our forgiveness of sin and a place in heaven. You've been so gracious to us. Thank you again for the Barbers and their willingness to come this morning or this evening also. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen. You may be seated. Be seated.
I'd like my friend Joe Moss to come up and just give a quick greeting to the crowd, if you would.
Thank you. It's good to see people still coming in. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm Joe Moss, the president of Ottawa Impact and one of the co-hosts of this event. Looking forward to hearing from the candidates tonight in this unique candidate forum. And I hope you have a great time. Thanks for being here.
And I'm Steve Redmond. I'd like to welcome you all here tonight. I'm president of the Ottawa County Patriots. How many people have never been to one of our meetings before? Raise your hand. Okay, well, welcome. You're among friends. How many are elected precinct delegates going to the GOP conference on Saturday? Raise your hand. Okay, we usually have a pretty good number of those folks. Well, welcome and thank you. This is a joint venture between the Ottawa County Patriots and the Ottawa Impact, and it's kind of a unique event that it's a candidate forum, but it's not a debate. We don't have all the candidates here. This is something new and different, and it's people who've been vetted and recruited, and many of them have never run for public office before. So this is a forum for them to get introduced to the community and to start their career in running for public office. And it's very terrifying sometimes to run for public office. They've done surveys, and they've found that many people would rather die than have to get up in front of an audience like this and give a speech. Hopefully none of our candidates will die. They're brave people. But they've done surveys, and that's what they found. So standing up in public and giving a talk is frightening for most people, but it's necessary in our constitutional republic to stand for office, to let people know what you're about, and to convince them, hopefully, to support your candidacy. So it's a fresh and a new thing. We have 8 candidates speaking tonight. And after everyone finishes speaking, We've got a couple rounds where they'll each have 8 minutes to speak, and then there'll be a short break, and then we'll have all the candidates come up, and they'll give you 2 minutes of sort of their going away things that they want you to remember from their talk tonight. And then we're going to have a few closing comments, and then we're going to encourage you to go visit the candidates. They all have a table out in the entryway out there, and we want you to go and talk to them, find out if you're in their district, find out what they're about. It's very important for them to meet people that may be in their district. They're starting a long journey tonight. We also have 2 petitions at the back. Many of you have already signed, but if you haven't, one is Unlock Michigan 2, which limits the power of the governor to lock us down like she did so vociferously. It puts limits on her power and how long she can lock us down before she has to go back to the legislature and get approval to go further. It's a way to rein in governmental tyranny. We also have another petition, Secure My Vote, and that has a number of issues in it that are common sense issues, like you should have a photo ID to vote. I know the Democrats don't like that, but did you know to get into the Democrat National Convention, you have to have a picture ID? So if it's racist, they're all racist because they demanded at their own national convention. It's hypocrisy. So this Secure My Vote has just a lot of common sense language in it, things that you thought they were doing anyway. It just forces the government to do it. Oh yeah, people are still coming in. If you have an empty seat, kind of slide in toward the middle, like they tell you at church, so that people can come in on the end. And I think we have a few Catholics here, so we need some empty seats at the back, because they come in late. So yeah, squeeze in. We got people still coming in, and I see the parking lot's filling up. So we have those petitions. We also have Ottawa Impact has a table back there that they'll be happy to chat with you. And our guest speaker, Mr. David Coleman, has a table in the back, and he'll be happy to chat with you. And he's a very interesting guy. I'll be introducing him in just a second. We also have at the table in the back a book written by Mr. Jim Simpson. Now, he was our speaker in January, and he spoke on communism and Marxism, and he tied together Black Lives Matter and Antifa, all that stuff. In my opinion, it's the best book written on communism in recent years. It's better than Mark Levin's book, in my opinion, and it's better than Glenn Beck's book. We have a few of them left. They're $20 each. Strongly urge you to get it. If you haven't looked into those issues, Jim's book is extremely well researched. He spent 30 years on it, and it's a very good book. We also have tapes of Jim in our video library on our website. So without further ado, I'm going to get into the agenda here, and I'm even going to be a minute early, so that's going to be great. And no, Gretchen, I'm not giving you that minute back. We were very fortunate to get a speaker tonight. The people that have gone through this extensive vetting process with Ottawa Impact, they had numerous interviews. I don't know if they did did you do an FBI check, Joe? I can't remember. But it was a thorough vetting process with people from the community to really look at these candidates and what they're about and what their commitments were. And it was a very rigorous process. And this is their graduation night. They got through the process. They've been vetted. They've been selected to run for public office. And when you graduate from high school or college, you have a commencement speaker. Well, we actually have a really good one for you tonight, Mr. David Coleman. And he is top-notch commencement speaker. So he is your commencement speaker for your graduation tonight. David Coleman is a Lansing attorney. He's the founder of the Coleman Legal Group, a successful general practice law firm in Michigan. David holds a BA degree in business management and a Juris Doctorate in law. He has over 30 years of litigation experience with over 300 trials. He has had a successful legal practice in many areas, including homeschooling, education law, family law, criminal law, church-state relations, constitutional law, and administrative law. He's handled cases at every level of our Michigan court system, from district court to the Supreme Court. He also has handled litigation in federal district court and appeals in the United States Court of Appeals. In 2008, the Michigan Supreme Court unanimously appointed David to serve as a commissioner for the State Bar of Michigan. They don't give that honor lightly. He also serves as an adjunct law professor teaching law at different academic institutions. David is also actively involved in his church and has served for many years as president of the board of a local adoption agency. He has been the primary attorney utilized by the Homeschool Legal Defense Association to represent their members in Michigan. He has handled hundreds of homeschool cases and was the trial attorney in the DeYoung case, which ultimately resulted in a Michigan Supreme Court decision in favor of home educators teaching their children without excessive government regulation. It was a landmark case. As a testament to his belief in home education, he and his wife have homeschooled their 2 children through high school graduation. David is a true servant leader who has consistently fought and won against the political and legal Goliaths who seek to undermine our Constitution and to restrict our God-given rights and freedoms. I am delighted he's agreed to be our commencement speaker tonight for the newly minted candidates for public office. Without further ado, David Coleman.
Well, good evening. I don't know who that guy was you were talking about, but sorry, Steve, I got to move that up a little bit. Yes, hello, my name is David Coleman. I did not show a photo ID to get in here tonight. So you have no way of knowing whether or not I really am David Coleman, so I guess we'll see. Well, it's a real privilege to be with you tonight. Thank you to Steve and to Joe for inviting me to come. It's a real privilege, and I appreciate the opportunity very much. I'm especially happy to be at a meeting like this, where there's so many concerned citizens, parents, others that are here tonight willing to stand up and be counted, willing to put their lives on hold to run for office and do what needs to be done. I applaud all of you who have chosen to enter the political arena and run for office. I really do. I applaud you all. Your families, your children, your neighbors, all of us will be benefited because of it. You're running for the right reasons. Your work, sacrifice, and dedication will have ripple effects way beyond just this year. Remember how important it is to have the absolute best candidates running this fall, not just for governor, AG, secretary of state, but all offices, including school boards, county commissions, township offices, city offices, everywhere across the board. And I got to say, it's very heartening for me to be here tonight and see 2 groups like the Ottawa County Patriots and Ottawa Impact collaborating and coming together and doing this as a joint effort for our common goal. And our common goal is to win this November, defeat Governor Whitmer, Dana Nessel, Jocelyn Benson, and on down the ballot. We all have that as our goal. So to everybody here, and I'm looking forward to listening and hearing what all the candidates have to say, you have my heartfelt thanks and support. You know, I've been in the arena now for 40 years almost, Steve. I don't know where Steve took off to now. He's reading from an old bio. I should have gotten him a more up-to-date one. I've been a conservative Republican involved in the party. I've been an actual constitutional lawyer. You hear about it all the time, but we are actually out there bringing cases, filing, and we've actually won some constitutional cases over the years, all the way to the Michigan Supreme Court and federal courts around the country. You know, our family has had 75 years of involvement. Some of you might remember my dad, James Coleman. My brother Dan's here tonight, hiding somewhere over here. My dad was a judge, our dad was a judge for 30 years in the Lansing area. And he was the Republican nominee for Supreme Court of the Republican Party back in the mid-'80s. I'll bet some of you are in this room supported my dad and probably were delegates at the state convention when he got nominated to run for Supreme Court. Now, my son Stephen is an attorney. You heard he was homeschooled. Yeah, I say we. Everybody in this room knows my wife homeschooled. Right? I mean, everybody knows that. I did a little bit, but she did 98% of it. But Stephen is now an attorney, and he's carrying on our family tradition and fighting for the same values and conservative and constitutional issues that are near and dear to all our hearts. So I thought I'd just give you a few examples of the types of cases that we've handled over the years. Now, we have an organization, Great Lakes Justice Center. If you're interested, there's a little bit of information in the back. Its website's greatlakesjc.org. And I just want to make it clear for the get-go, Great Lakes is a 501c3. We do not endorse any candidates. So anything I'm saying and supporting folks here tonight and other candidates, it's me personally, all right, as David Coleman, not for Great Lakes. But we've had many cases that we've been doing. For example, a few were mentioned already. The Michigan Supreme Court affirmed the right of home educators to teach their kids at home. That was back in 1993. Man, do I feel old with that. Mark and Christy Young brought that case. We brought that case for them. And Mike Ferris came in. Many of you know Mike, who was now the head of ADF, and we worked closely with them on a lot of things also. He did the argument at the Supreme Court, and I was the trial attorney. We worked together through the whole case, and we won that decision. We won the right of a church to operate their daycare based on their religious beliefs. Michigan Civil Rights Department and the AG at the time, Jennifer Granholm, tried to stop them, sued them to try to shut down their daycare. We won that case about 20-some years ago. We won a case for a right to life group. I know Ray Padgett, who was here tonight, Baptist for Life. There was an organization that had filed for their charitable solicitation license with the state of Michigan, been denied. They came to us, we looked into it, found out, lo and behold, every single pro-abortion group that had asked for their charitable solicitation license, they got it. About half of the pro-life groups had been denied. So we took that case on, and by the time we were done, every single pro-life group in Michigan, not just our client, every single one had been approved. We just recently won a Michigan Supreme Court decision allowing a former pastor to hand out informational, educational pamphlets on jurors' obligations and duties in front of a courthouse on the public sidewalk. We just won that case in the Michigan Supreme Court. We won a lawsuit where the ACLU sued a judge in the mid-Michigan area because he had the temerity to appoint a guardian ad litem to represent an unborn child in a proceeding where a minor mother was trying to get authority or permission to abort her child. Judge Robertson appointed a guardian ad litem to represent the unborn child, and the ACLU went nuts. And that one went all the way up to the Michigan Supreme Court, and we won that case. Right now, thank you. And, you know, let me say, I say we, you know, we all know who's winning these cases. You know, it's not us. God's in control of these things. Everybody has their role, and we're going to talk about that here in the few minutes we have. And I just want to make sure that you understand the importance of these cases and everybody being involved. Right now, we're representing two prosecutors. You might have read it in the Detroit News today. Governor Whitmer has filed a lawsuit against 13 prosecutors around the state and is trying to overturn our abortion law, which is the strongest in the country, by the way, and is trying to get it thrown out, and is trying to get the court to rule that there's a right to abortion under Michigan's Constitution, which our appellate courts have already said is not true. So Jackson County Prosecutor Jerry Jarzinka and right nearby here, Kent County Prosecutor Chris Becker have engaged us and engaged Great Lakes, and we're representing them, fighting the governor in those cases right now. We're also getting ready, hopefully on behalf of some other parties, to intervene in the second lawsuit. There are two lawsuits. Planned Parenthood is suing the Attorney General, Dana Nessel, and trying to do the same thing. So we're hopefully going to be involved in both of those cases. You know, it's interesting. They're arguing that those prosecutors, they're asking for injunctive relief to stop the prosecutors from enforcing the law. But nobody has enforced these criminal abortion statutes for 50 years because of, you know, the Roe v. Wade decision. So they're not enforcing it right now because of that decision. And yet The governor is coming in and asking the court to issue an injunction to stop the prosecutors from doing something they're not doing. Does that make any sense to you? Doesn't to me, so this is going to be an interesting case. You know, Great Lakes Justice Center takes on these cases, and we're 501c3, and these are going to be probably the two biggest abortion cases ever in our state. And they're going to try to force abortion down everybody's throats through the Michigan Supreme Court, regardless of what the law says or what the people want or anything else. And it'll be abortion right up through the day of birth. That's what they're pushing for, folks. They've hired a big law firm from the East Coast. We've actually duked it out with them a couple of times, so I kind of enjoy it. But from DC and New York, they're spending a ton of our tax dollars to do this. So, you know, we have to look to our community, to folks like you, for help. If you feel so inclined, go to our website. I gave it before, greatlakesjc.org. And if you can donate to help, this is going to be 6 figures, folks. It's going to be a very expensive lawsuit that we have to fight. So we would appreciate your thinking about helping us there. All of your contributions would be tax deductible. Now, in the last 2 years alone, we've won over 24 cases opposing the illegal and unconstitutional edicts from Governor Whitmer and other state agencies, from lockdowns to COVID orders and everything else. We filed the first case in Michigan against the governor's orders back in May of 2020, and that allowed churches and synagogues and mosques, all religious organizations, to stay open. Governor Whitmer had deemed everyone to be non-essential. I mean, just think about that for a minute. Churches are non-essential. Ridiculous. We filed that lawsuit in federal court. Less than 24 hours later, Governor Whitmer backed off, changed her order, and churches were allowed to be open. We took action against, right nearby here, a Kent County Circuit judge who had issued something called a general warrant. And a general warrant is blatantly illegal and unconstitutional. It's just a warrant that a judge signs that anybody can be picked up for no reason by police, for any reason. No notice, no hearing, no due process, no nothing. I mean, this is why we had a war with England, was because of that kind of stuff. And he signed one that if a local health official or somebody thought somebody had COVID, they could just pick them up, arrest them, and hold them for 72 hours with no hearing, no representation, no nothing. We threatened lawsuits over that, and the next day they withdrew that warrant also. Many of you might remember Carl Mankey, you know? So he's been a great guy to work for. 6 cases, and we've won them all except for one last one on administrative appeal. We're still in the Court of Appeals. They're trying to fine him $9,000 for protesting at the Capitol, for having a comb in his pocket, and for having a little bit too much hair on the floor. $9,000 bucks. Some of you might remember the Capitol Hill or Capitol protests, the Operation Haircut. We represented 6 of those folks, 6 criminal cases, 6 cases where they went after their license. We won all 6 criminal cases. We won 5 of the 6 administrative cases to keep their licenses. The 6th person kept their license. They wanted to settle, so we got a favorable settlement for them. But I wish they would have fought it all the way. But it was their case. That's what they chose to do. But they still kept their license. We've represented numerous restaurants, businesses all over. Some of you might remember the Western Michigan case last fall. We represented 16 athletes who were forced. They said, you have to get your vaccine mandated, or you can't play in your teams anymore. And we went to federal court. We got the first injunction in the country in federal court against a vaccine mandate. Anywhere in the country. Thank you. And the 6th Circuit Court of Appeals in Cincinnati upheld it. We also filed an election law fraud case in Wayne County. A lot of people don't realize that. We did. And we had lots of affidavits and proof, and we actually got a partial victory in our case, where the judge admitted and acknowledged in his opinion that our clients were entitled to the audit that's under the new constitutional provision. We practice extensively in federal courts and the U.S. Supreme Court. Just recently, in the last few months, we filed 3 briefs with the U.S. Supreme Court, 4, 2 on the Dobbs case. That's the one on the Roe v. Wade right now. We're all waiting on the decision. 1 in favor of supporting a high school football coach who got fired because he led prayers or is involved in prayers after a game. That case is before the Supreme Court. And then another case involving the same issue as Jack Phillips and, the cake decorator from Colorado. So we do that extensively. Now, this is hardly a long list of all the types of stuff we get involved in. But I think it does demonstrate our commitment to conservative values, to Christian principles, and we're happy to stand on our record in all these things. We have to have unity in our party coming up. We got to have it, folks. And it's okay to have differences, and it's okay to pick different people that are running for offices and things like that. But I think in some ways we're starting to lose sight of what our goal is. And again, as I said, it's to defeat Dana Nessel. It's to defeat Governor Whitmer. And as an aside, this is why I support Tom Leonard. I'm not going to be bashful about it. And he's been a former prosecutor, a former AG. I think he has the best chance to beat Dana Nessel. He was nominated by President Trump to be U.S. Attorney, the highest federal law enforcement person in our state. He's the only Speaker of the House in my memory that actually got a constitutional carry bill passed in the House. He got it through and passed in the House. He acted as a lobbyist. Yeah, he did. On behalf of small businesses who were being shut down and to fight the governor's lockdowns. That's what he was lobbying about. I'm proud to support somebody like that. Right to Life of Michigan, police associations, my state senator, Tom Barrett, many others, all endorsed Tom. Carl Mankey's endorsed Tom. I don't know if I should say this. Ted Nugent has endorsed Tom. I haven't seen him at church lately. 44 Michigan prosecutors have endorsed Tom. I just encourage you to not accept half-truths about anybody, any of the candidates running. Look at the full record. It's okay to have disagreement and have difference of opinion. That's fine. I encourage you, we have a letter in the back. Feel free to pick up a copy if you'd like. And I'm happy to talk with anybody afterwards. This is not the main point of me being here tonight. But if anybody has questions for me of why we've made this endorsement, I'm happy to talk with you. So how do we continue our involvement and make a difference this fall? How do we do that? What can I do? I'm just one person, right? I hear that all the time. I'm just one person. I don't have any, anything that I can do to make a difference. Folks, that's not right. Let me tell you what one congressman did. Did you hear about the Speaker of the House banning certain words in the House that could not be said? Well, this one congressman stood up and started repeating the word over and over and over, okay? And Democrats went crazy. They went nuts. They tried to kick him out of Congress. They tried all kinds of stuff, and they didn't win. Do you know, have you heard about this? Yeah? Well, maybe you didn't hear about it because it happened 170 years ago. There's nothing new under the sun, folks, okay? That congressman was John Quincy Adams, former president. People forget he served 16 years in the House after he was president. And why? Because he wanted to fight slavery. And President Adams was asked, Mr. President, why are you doing this? Why are you beating your head against the wall? You're not getting any results. You're standing up, you're fighting this, and you're fighting this. Why do you continue to do it? You're not getting results. His famous reply, duty is ours, results are God's. Did you get that? What a profound statement. Duty is ours, results are God's. John Quincy Adams greatly affected Abraham Lincoln. In fact, his last speech, President Adams was on the floor of Congress, again speaking against slavery, and he passed away while giving a speech. Abraham Lincoln came, picked up his body, took it out, and helped make sure all the arrangements were made for him. You never know how much influence you're having on a person that can impact down the road. Because what did Abraham Lincoln do 13 years later? Emancipation Proclamation. We all have a circle of influence, people we know. You never know what kind of influence you're having in somebody else's life. How many of you know Dr. Erwin Lutzer? I expected as much. Have you read his book, We Will Not Be Silenced? What an awesome book. And we were just chatting the other day, and he's got another book coming out, Nowhere to Hide. Nowhere to Hide. It's going to be out this fall. But let me read from his book, We Will Not Be Silenced. If you haven't gotten that book, you need to get it and read it. It really encapsulates what's happening right now. But listen to this. He said, everybody thinks everything is normal. We still have our Congress and a president. I'm going to shorten this because I know I'm a little over here. We are still able to preach the gospel in our churches. But recently, look at all the problems we've had, health pandemic, and he goes on, and inflation, and et cetera. The underbelly of our nation's being eaten away, and we might not even recognize our true condition. I want to encourage and inspire us to have the courage to walk toward the fire and not run away from the flames. God's brought us to this cultural moment. Our future cannot be taken for granted, and it's been said in a time of universal deception, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. Folks, I want to encourage you tonight. Everybody in this room, everybody can be a revolutionary for truth. Everyone in this room has a circle of friends and people that you influence, from work, school, neighborhoods, church. Everybody needs to take their part and be involved. Engage in the battle. Engage, folks, with a resolute, firm, calm, and appropriate approach. Remember, duty is ours. The results are in God's hands. Don't sink to the level of the politics of personal destruction. We as Republicans are better than that. Let's go out and work together to win this November. Thanks for being here tonight. Again, thank you for everybody running. I'm looking forward to hearing everybody else other than me up here talking. So thanks for being here, folks.
We have some people at the back. We've got seats up here. We don't want Dan to sit up here alone. Come on up. Keep him company. He's a nice guy. He's had all his shots. Well, then again, come on up. We got seats up here, and we have a few people in the back. We got 70 seats in the back with a big screen TV down this hallway, so nobody needs to be standing. We got some seats around here, seats up here, and in the back also. Just want to share a couple thoughts before we introduce the candidates, and we're going to go kind of rapid fire. Before Joshua led the Israelites across the Jordan River into the Promised Land, God instructed the priests to stand in the middle of the river. When they took that step of faith, God stopped the river, and the people crossed. Our strength comes from Christ. However, he doesn't give us the strength before we face difficult situations. We must take a step of faith first. When we step out, trusting him, he gives us the strength we need when we need it. You're about to step into the raging river of political life. You are doing it for the right reasons, at the right place, and the right time. You are not doing it for personal profit or political gain or adulation from the masses. You're doing it because you sought redress of your grievances from your elected officials, and they let you down. You then, as a group, sought to correct the situation through the courts, and that also failed. You then were faced with a dilemma and two choices. Walk away, which is what the vast majority of our fellow citizens usually do when they bump up against City Hall, or stand up and stand in the gap for others. You are standing in the gap by running for public office to defend your faith, your families, and your God-given freedoms. It takes moral courage to do that. Today, moral courage in America is more rare than the rarest of earth minerals. You all have it, and it will sustain you in your quest to win elective office. Today, we're going to give you what you want wrapped up in what you need. We're going to give you a public exposure to kick off your campaigns, covered with lots of encouragement to sustain you on the journey. I'm deeply honored to introduce you to your fellow citizens at this time and place. And we're going to start with Our first speaker is going to be Gretchen Cosby. She holds associate's, bachelor's, and master's degrees in nursing and nursing management. She has a 30-year career in almost every level of nursing, from the front line to senior leadership positions, and has been responsible for budgets up to $30 million. Gretchen's specialties in nursing include emergency room, intensive care, surgical behavioral health, care management, innovative practice management, nursing education, and COVID community response. She's held senior roles and substantial financial responsibility in her previous jobs. She's led teams up to 200 people, designed and started physician office labs, and presented at the Mayo Clinic. She also served as chairman of the Nursing Leadership Committee and board member of Rest Haven. Gretchen has stood up the Holland COVID-19 Clinic, which saw 375 patients a day. She's also assisted in the development of statewide emergency response plans and looks forward to bringing her passion and expertise to serve the people of Ottawa County. Without further ado, Gretchen Cosby.
Wow, here's my leap of faith, right? Good evening, and I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy evenings and schedules to come meet with me and my fellow candidates here for Ottawa County Commissioner. My name is Gretchen Cosby, and I am a candidate for District 1 County Commissioner. The big question on everyone's mind right now is, who am I? Or at least if you live in District 1. And I'll get to that, but I want to start out with something that I think is really important. I am not a politician. On the other hand, I am your fellow community member. I'm a wife to Paul, a mother of a 29-year-old son, stepmother to 2 adult children, a daughter, a sister, an aunt, and then Gigi to 2 adorable twin grandchildren. I am a nurse who has dedicated 30 years of service to thousands of patients, families, in the communities where I live. Tonight, I'm asking you for your vote in the Republican primary for District 1, Ottawa County Commissioner. Ottawa County, the state of Michigan, and indeed our nation are working through some challenging, unprecedented times. I'm asking you for your vote because I am confident that my personal values and my professional experience make me the right person to serve as the representative of the people of Ottawa County. I will accept this role with eyes wide open. I have attended the commissioner meetings, and I've researched the roles and responsibilities of the position. The commissioner is responsible to, and I quote from their website, listen to the residents, then ensure they receive the services of the county. We, the commissioners, are responsible to provide leadership and policy for the county government and county activities. There are 4 general areas of work for the commissioner: finance and administration, health and human services, talent and recruitment, planning and policy. So finance, health services, staffing, and planning. Like many of you have over the years, I've developed those skills in my 30-year profession. So let's take these one at a time, although I think Steve did a really good job. So finance and budgeting. I have had the responsibility to lead emergency rooms, surgical units, intensive care operations, office teams, and other innovative healthcare organizations. I have managed $30 million budgets with full operational budget responsibilities, including capital budget for large system projects. Health and human services. This is simply where I live. It has been my career. I have delivered healthcare. I have taught nursing. I have led many innovations in how we deliver healthcare delivery. I've been a speaker at Mayo Clinic, and most recently I was one of 2 nurses who designed and managed the COVID-19 testing center for Holland Hospital. Talent and recruitment. I made a lot of I statements there. I can't do that without a team. Having led teams as large as 200 people in major hospitals, I'm intimate with the challenges of recruitment, assessment, and engaging my team members. Planning and policy. I have participated in direct planning on multiple levels, and beyond that, during my nursing career, I've worked as a partner with Department of Health and Human Services and other community services like police, fire, and emergency services. I understand the need to plan for the interaction of these services to our community. It's very, very vital. We look at the pandemic. The very description of this position starts with the phrase, "It is the responsibility of the commissioners to listen to the residents." For the last 2 years, as a community member, I've been listening. What have I heard? 17 months ago, one of our county officials said that our election process was perfect. And this caught my full attention, because to me, it is our vote that secures our freedom. And I know I'm not unique in that thinking. A collective trust in our electing processes is essential to maintain our constitutional republic. So contrary to this official's assertions, our election wasn't perfect, it wasn't secure, and your vote wasn't safe, and our results weren't transparent. These are bold statements, but I can make these assertions because I independently and professionally led a team of people here in Ottawa County as the county captain for Election Integrity Force, many of which are here this evening. Couldn't do it without them. Together, we have been canvassing Ottawa County since the first weekend in December of 2021. We have reached out to thousands of voters and talked to nearly 900 people in the county about the election process. I can realistically report with hard data that 7% of the voters in our community had their voting method changed on 11/3 of 2020. Ottawa County voters are concerned about election integrity. I've also attended meetings at the Ottawa County Commissioners, where I, like many of you, have experienced commissioners willfully ignoring hundreds of people who came to speak. They separated themselves with plexiglass. They limited time to talk. They separated the people into multiple rooms. What have I heard while listening to these people? We are living in unprecedented times. Who would have imagined 2 years ago we would be faced with lockdowns that caused death and job loss, lack of election integrity and broken election processes, threats to bodily sovereignty and forced vaccine mandates, masking of children and the masking of children is driven by fear and not fact, school boards and school systems that don't realize that the parents are their customers and instead believe they have the right to decide what ought to be taught to our children, and in doing so are assuming parental rights. Now we are witnessing the erosion of family values. Woke discriminatory curriculum practices in our public schools that divide children and our community, things like CRT, DEI, and GARE, and inflation that we all feel, and certainly the county will as well. There are a few things I'd like you to know about me. As a nurse, not a politician, I can scientifically define the difference between a boy and a girl. XX, there are 2 genders. As a nurse and not a politician, I know a baby can live outside of the womb at 21 weeks gestation, and that the heart of a child actually starts to beat at 8 to 22 days after conception. As a nurse and not a politician, I know that COVID vaccines don't reduce symptoms, don't prevent transmission, and in fact, they've harmed people. As a nurse and not a politician, I got my 1 minute down there, I see it. I know how PPE works, personal protective equipment works. The mask, the surgical mask, only holds back 60 microns. The virus is 1 micron. Masks don't work. I volunteered to serve as commissioner because I am concerned about the trajectory of our government in Ottawa County, cities, and townships. I can't change the past, but when elected, I will work to ensure that we have the following: election processes that respect the will of the people, elections, not selections, county policy that respects the role of the parent in the development of their children, healthcare policy practices that are based in fact and not fear, and restore West Michigan values to all decisions that affect our children, our livelihoods, and our constitutional republic. To conclude, who is Gretchen Cosby? I am a candidate of the people and for the people, and I ask for your vote on August 2nd, 2022. I do have a primary. Thank you.
Gretchen had a lot of content. She had to trim some of it out. That's why you got to go talk to her so she can finish the story at her table at the back. And also understand, Ottawa County Patriots do not endorse any candidate for anything. What we're doing tonight is expanding the range of choices for Ottawa County voters so you have more than one choice. Remember, Henry Ford said, you can have any color you want for your car as long as it's black. Well, we believe in choices. It's part of the free market economy. Having more choices gives the voters options, and we believe people should have options. Next speaker is Jacob Bonama. He has served on various boards that support and develop the U.S. military, sport leagues, and inner-city development. He resides in Zeeland and is a founding member of Foundry Church in Zeeland. He's an Eagle Scout, active in politics, and an elite producer in the financial sector. He's currently an independent commercial insurance agent for Coop & Burr Insurance. Prior to his work in the insurance industry, he was president and CEO at Desert River Games and co-owner of Chuck Norris's World Combat League. Jacob's oldest daughter is adopted from Ethiopia and works at Gentex. His oldest son and daughter-in-law are full-time missionaries based in Livingston, Zambia. Two more sons attend Western Michigan University on full-ride football scholarships while pursuing degrees in finance. Jacob's youngest daughter is a senior at Zeeland High School. Without further ado, Jacob Bonama.
Man, I'm still reeling from what Gretchen said. I just want to reread her whole speech. That was really encouraging. Thank you, Gretchen, for that. The good Gretchen, that's what I like to call her. Remember that? Yeah, right? That's right. Yeah. Well, I'm really proud to stand before you tonight. You know, when you sit and then are brought through to say the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag and pray together, it reminds me of the old days of being a Boy Scout. And I'm thinking about, you know, when I was a little kid, gosh, you'd say that, and the things that we'd celebrate and that we would promote in Boy Scouts, and the things that we did were good things. And I feel like those things are being lost on today's generation. I'm a father of 5, and so I'm very engaged in the community. I know the families in our community. I'm eager to meet more of them this summer as we go through the door-knocking process of meeting and listening and talking and doing the things that we're supposed to be doing as representatives of your voice. We're supposed to be listening and engaging, and I'm not seeing that with our current Board of Commissioners. But I remember when I was in Boy Scouts, we would repeat something. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, we need more of that, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. There's Boy Scouts in the room. This is great. No, these are things, yeah, thank you. Yeah, these are things that we need to bring back into our community. We're looking at programs that our county is promoting to our community that is breaking down that fabric of what's made us great. I don't like that. You know, I used to walk around with a Boy Scout manual in my pocket. Today I have to walk around with a Constitution of the United States, right? Because this is what's important to us. That right there, that's what we're fighting for. That's what we're fighting to keep. So yes, I'm from Zeeland, District 4. If you live there, please reach out to me through my website. My wife back here, Kelly, been married for 25 years this year. Excited about that, raised 5 beautiful kids with me. She's a small business owner too. Her company is Sister Bees. They have all these products from the beehive. I'm so proud. I mean, people talk about launching their business out of the garage. They had to graduate to the garage, her and her sister. They started in the basement, worked their way up to the garage, then the garage in the attic, and now their products are being carried in over 4,000 locations countrywide in multiple countries. Yeah. So when people ask me, why am I running? You know, we raised our family here. We're in right downtown Zeeland. We built our businesses here. Our lives are here. We love this community. We want to fight for this community. When you care about something, you want to advocate God's best plan for it. That's core to who I am. We have problems in our community right now. Today, our freedom and culture is under attack by wokeism, entitlements, and government overreach. And as a Boy Scout, going back to that, I didn't know I was going to be talking about that. I have a whole thing of notes here. But we're supposed to be prepared for battle, right? Be prepared. This is the annual report for DEI, and I know we're going to hear more about that. But DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion, if you're not familiar with it. You know, diversity I love. You know, shoot, my family's diverse. You know, I look around and I'm excited to bring lots of points of view to the conversation. We're better together when we do that. Inclusion, we should, you know, again, a great value for us to embrace. But this equity piece, I think, is going too far. This equity piece, I don't know if you've ever heard of the book called When Helping Hurts. You have. This is a strong principle that I think we need to be thinking about as a lens of what this program is, because it's doing things into our community under kind of a benevolence, but it's hurting us. You know, we think we're helping, but we're hurting. So this is a strong focus of something that I'm looking into with the Board of Commissioners. And like Gretchen talked about, the Board of Commissioners, the reason why I'm excited to run for this spot, they actually have the ability to change direction in our county. They hire and fire the talent that leads the departments. That's major. And they approve the budgets. So when you control the head and you control the wallet, you have the opportunity to do some great things in our community. And right now, because of what these current commissioners have done, I think it's really hard for them to admit the mistakes that they've made if they do realize them, and I'm not sure that they do. I think when you commit down a trail, it's a little hard on your ego to back up and say, I think I made a mistake and I need to change course. I think it's time for a fresh wind to blow through the Board of Commissioners office. I am excited to be able to serve shoulder to shoulder with these folks right here. I'm really, you know, you look at this fellow right here, our patriot. These guys literally, just like you, look, everybody's shoulder to shoulder right now. That's what we're doing. We're going to battle, right? We're up. We have a strong enemy that we're going against, but we're a strong people, all right? We've got great leadership around us. We've got a great, you know, there's a lot of Bonamas. And my wife is 100% behind me, which gives me enough to conquer this whole room right now, right? But there's a whole bunch of family members and on. So Team Bonama is ready to engage and ready to get involved. I see the MEP links back here. I see there's a bunch of people around here that I'm really excited to be in touch with over this summer to go to battle, because we have a future that we want to fight for. You know, when I ask some of the citizens about what's most important to them right now, it's important to realize that a couple things. Sure, our personal freedoms are under attack, but we also have big issues like affordable housing that we need to address. I want my kids to want to raise their families here, build their businesses here. I think it's really important that we look at that subject and we get into the townships and we do something about that. And then number two, crime and drug abuse. What's driving that? I think that wokeism is a big piece of it. I think that tear away the family values. I think, you know, trying to keep the parents together. How do we support that so that we don't fill our jails with wonderful people that don't have a future there? We need to work together for these things. And I'm really encouraged by the turnout tonight. Again, my name is Jacob Bonama, District 4 in Zeeland. Please come visit with me afterwards. I'm preparing for battle, and I hope you'll join me.
Brought back memories. I remember. Be prepared. Next speaker, I've been working with for about a year and a half, maybe longer. Seems longer. He's a delightful guy. He's a fellow patriot. Joe Moss was concerned with government overreach into parental rights and religious freedom. He co-founded Ottawa Impact, a nonprofit dedicated to protecting individual and parental rights. Joe grew up in Ottawa County in a family with 7 boys. He earned degrees in accounting and marketing from Cedarville University and worked for a top 10 accounting firm. He then founded a technology company focused on building software for schools, colleges, and business. Joe and his wife Susie moved to Tegucigalpa, Honduras for 2 years, where Susie taught music at an international Christian school, and Joe operated his business from abroad. In 2012, Joe co-founded 2 more technology businesses, and Joe and Susie have a daughter and a son. Joe became involved in local politics after Ottawa County threatened him and the parents at his child's Christian school with fines and imprisonment for exercising their rights to determine the care and education of their children and for not complying with certain COVID-19 mandates. The county eventually mandated the school to close for 2 weeks, and the school sued in federal court. In early 2021, concerned with government overreach into parental rights and religious freedom, Joe co-founded Ottawa Impact, a nonprofit dedicated to protecting individual and parental rights. Joe has led the county in standing for freedom. He personally advocated with county commissioners and the Ottawa GOP to rescind the county mask mandate on children and obtained a resolution passed by the Ottawa GOP condemning the COVID-19 restrictions on children. He created a legal fund to support a group of parents suing the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners and Department of Public Health. Joe currently serves as the president of Ottawa Impact and the executive director of Ottawa Impact PAC, a political action committee designed to find, vet, and support new leaders for Ottawa County. The PAC is raising money to support vetted candidates, including securing a $50,000 match challenge and raising over $100,000 to date. Without further ado, my friend, Joe Moss.
Hello. Well, I'm Joe Moss, and I'm excited to be announcing that I'm running for County Commissioner in District 5, which is Blendon Township, the city of Hudsonville, Jamestown area. And I wanted to, I've had the privilege to speak a couple times here, so I guess I get to kind of slow down and tell you a little bit about myself. It's kind of different, and maybe explain a little about why I'm here and what's led to this. So anyway, so I'm a husband. I'm going on about 15 years, not 25. We're getting there. I'm a dad. I have 2 kids, Charlotte and Brighton, and one's 6, one's 3. And from 2010 to 2020, I was a business owner, still am, and was in technology and really enjoy it. I'd go to work every day and just have fun in the office, programming, building computer programs, stuff like that. Well, in 2020, I became something new. I became a concerned parent and a concerned citizen. I saw what was going on with Gretchen Whitmer and the state, and I saw mandates coming down and could not understand it. In 2020, I also became something else. I became a threatened parent. I was threatened specifically, along with the other parents at the school my daughter attends, by Ottawa County, and threatened with fines and potential jail for not obeying their mandates. And so that led to action. I started going to board meetings and talking to board members and talking to people in the community, wondering, what is going on here, like a lot of you probably have asked. And so in 2021, I became something else. I became an advocate, and I started to get involved in local politics. I helped found Ottawa Impact and started advocating with the Board of Commissioners here in Ottawa County. I helped launch the Ottawa Impact PAC and the legal fund for Ottawa Impact that is supporting a group of parents who is currently suing Ottawa County, the Board of Commissioners, and the Health Department. And that lawsuit is still ongoing. We've appealed the recent decision. And as an aside, I wanted to highlight one of the things that we learned in that case from Judge John Hulsing in December 6 of last year. As he ruled against the parents, he said, he kind of wrapped up and said, this is a direct quote, "Can a local health officer abuse his or her authority? Absolutely. What can be done? County board hired her. County board can fire her." So I kept listening to these things. I kept listening to what county commissioners were telling me and other people. And I heard things that really surprised me, things that made me uncomfortable. And what I perceived was a lack of action and engagement by the people who are currently in representative positions. And something that you should know about me is that that's not how I was raised. I was raised to, does anybody know the word here? Do what's right no matter who's looking. Integrity. I was raised to do what's right, to not sit back and to take action. Not to just take what's handed to me, not to just sit down and shut up, not to, just put on the mask and comply without asking questions or thinking critically. And so that's what I started to do. I talked to commissioners. I asked one, "What do you think of all the parents showing up at these meetings?" And he said, "It's a blip." That surprised me. I heard from another one when I was asking. I was on the phone with him. He was walking his dog, and I was asking him questions about why the county was behaving the way they were. He said, "Sometimes the government needs to make your decisions for you." Yep. He heard you. Another thing I heard was that this was secondhand, so I have to make that claim. But another commissioner told a friend of mine that only 1,000 parents showed up to that meeting. That must mean all the rest of the parents support the health department. I didn't think that was accurate. Anyway, so the conclusion I came to after watching what was going on in Ottawa County, after getting involved as an advocate, after meeting some amazing people who would like to step in and be involved in areas where they think that there are needs in leadership, in accountability, in transparency, and in representing the people of Ottawa County, my conclusion was we currently have leaders who were very well prepared for 2019. And 2020 came along and really surprised them. And so what I would say is we need some new leaders for liberty. We need that fresh wind that I think Jacob mentioned to come and bring energy to Ottawa County, to help lead us into a bright future, because Ottawa County is an amazing place to live. And we want to keep it that way. And so that requires citizen involvement. And everyone who's here knows that there has been a lack of citizen involvement over the last several years, if I'm being kind. And so we've had leaders who have stepped up and taken initiative and served. And now, as we are in new times, we need people who will do what's right, no matter what, and take the bold action that's necessary to lead us forward. So, in closing, what I would like to happen as we move into this election cycle, so I'd like to see people be elected who understand that the government, our local government, needs to focus on what it is actually responsible for and stop overstepping its bounds. We should promote and protect liberty, govern with the least force and least authority required, and have the integrity to take action and think critically where it's necessary, and use that as our modus operandi. So I'm Joe Moss, running for District 5, and thank you for the time today.
Well done. Give it all the credit, Joe. Interesting, Joe's talking about citizen involvement. If you look at our core values, it's education and citizen involvement. That's why we partner with groups like Ottawa Impact. We can't do everything, but we'll partner with anybody that has a good cause, and we can get a crowd. The next speaker is someone I've known for a while. Rebecca Curran felt led in 2012 to forge a new career in fundraising and politics, including working for the Family Foundation in Virginia, Amanda Chase for Virginia State Senate and Governor, Ben Carson's presidential super PAC, and Trump victory. Rebecca is the daughter of a retired lieutenant colonel in the Army, and she serves her community as a founding member and president of the Republican Women of Ottawa County. She also serves with the Ottawa GOP and is a state committee woman for the Michigan GOP. She's a seasoned sales and marketing professional with 15 years working in the hospitality industry. In 2012, she felt led to forge a new career in fundraising and politics, including working for the Family Foundation in Virginia. She is currently the founder and president of Curran Consulting, where she helps political campaigns and nonprofits reach their fundraising goals. Rebecca looks forward to leaving a legacy of positive change in this world through her fundraising efforts and political involvement. Without further ado, Rebecca Curran.
Hello, thank you so much. I just want to thank Steve for allowing us to come this evening, Joe, and all of my fellow county commissioners, future county commissioners. So I wanted to talk a little bit about who I am, my journey, what's brought me to this moment. It has been a long time coming. So going back to my childhood, I grew up in a Christian home. I always like to talk about my testimony because that is the most important part of who I am and what brought me here today. So I grew up in a Christian home. I was one of 6 kids, and as you know, anybody from a big family, when you're one of 6 kids, you got to get in there and you got to help, and you know how to work, you know how to do things. So I've always known how to get involved and work and do things. But my mom, she was a fabulous lady. She taught me so much about life, and she taught me so much about the Word of God. And one of the things she always taught me was that one person could change the course of history. One person. And I always believed that. So when I grew up, I believed in God. I had my life insurance card. I thought I was a card-carrying Christian. I thought I was going to heaven. But I was certainly not surrendered to the Lord Jesus Christ by any way, shape, or form. So I was a prodigal. I kind of went off and did my own thing. I had big dreams in my heart, and I really felt that I could achieve them on my own. But boy, after about a decade of that, I found out that I was dead wrong. So in 2012, after going through some very trying times in my life, I finally, one day, as you all know, I was in the hospitality industry at this time, I went into one of our empty meeting rooms, and I just completely went into a puddle on the floor. And I was ugly crying, like legit ugly crying. And I finally said to God, this is my life. I've made a complete disaster of it, but it's yours now. And I'm going to take my hands off the wheel, and I'm going to give you control of everything. And whatever you want to do with it, good luck. And my life was so messed up at the time. I even said to the Lord at the end of my prayer, this is all I have left, and if you can do anything with it, knock yourself out. Like, I had no faith that that was going to happen. But you know what? God is faithful. He is faithful, and he came alongside me, and he transformed my life completely. During that time, I was living in Virginia. As Steve mentioned, I am a military brat. I've grown up in 8 states, or I've lived in 8 states twice. So basically, we were in Virginia at the time, and during that time, they were pushing gay marriage through the courts in Virginia. And I said to myself, I can no longer sit on the sidelines. If the Lord said this, I believe that it is truth. And I immediately got involved, and I started just going along the path, and God has called me and led me into political activism. And are you all familiar with the 7 mountains of cultural influence? God's called me to government. So I just knew that that's something that I had to do. And the doors that he's opened, working for Ben Carson's Super PAC, working for Virginia, in Virginia for Amanda Chase running for state senate, and then for governor, and all of these amazing opportunities, it is all orchestrated by and through him. And even coming here to Michigan, I believe that we were called here, and it was specifically to run for public office. So when they asked me to run for county commissioner, of course, I immediately went home and prayed about this. And I asked the Lord, I put out a fleece, and I said, if you want me to run, then I do not want to have to challenge anyone, Lord. And out of 11 county commissioners, guess who retired? My county commissioner. I'm like, okay, I hear you. So again, I've been fighting for America. I've been fighting for our values. I am completely pro-life. And I didn't just espouse these values, I lived them. Remember, I had a prodigal phase when I was younger, and I was 19 and I got pregnant out of wedlock. And I could not ask my child to pay the ultimate sacrifice for my mistake. Like, it just was incomprehensible to me. And adoption wasn't an option, so I knew very quickly I was going to be a mother. So it's something I fight for. I believe very adamantly in it. I'm pro-Constitution. I believe that it is your right and your decision to decide what you do with your lives. And as long as it's not illegal or immoral, you should be able to live your life. We have to pull back government. We have to rein them in. It is unfathomable what is happening in this country right now, and we all have to stand up, just like I did in Virginia back in 2012, and say, what am I going to do? I can no longer sit on the sidelines. It is time for me to get involved. It is time for me to be active. Each and every one of us. This is a government by the people, for the people, and of the people. We have to do our jobs. It is not up to someone else. It's not up to me. It's not up to all of our county commissioners. It is up to each and every one of you to be vigilant and to be adamant and to push back against power. Because absolute power corrupts absolutely. So it is up to you. So thank you. Go ahead, clap. So it just is something that is so ingrained, and I think that we just, again, we all have to do our part. It is so important. So with that said, I am very honored to be here. I'm honored that if you live in Jenison, that's where I'm running. Jenison, Georgetown Township. Anybody in the audience? Oh, yay, we got. So when you go out the door, just head to the right. My table will be right there at the back. So I look forward to meeting each and every one of you. I look forward to connecting with you. I look forward to listening to you, and I look forward to going into battle with you. Thank you.
I'd have to say, for people who haven't run for public office, they're doing pretty darn good. Next speaker is Sylvia Rohde. She is concerned with health orders impacting people and the promotion of divisive, progressive ideologies throughout the county's DEI office. She co-founded Ottawa Impact with Joe in early 2021. Sylvia grew up in West Michigan and graduated from Cornerstone University with a BA in psychology. Sylvia has always loved children and worked in foster care and special needs adoption for 6 years before having children of her own. She also operated a photography and design business out of her home for nearly a decade. When Sylvia's youngest child was vaccine injured at birth, she discovered she needed to find a backbone to protect him from further harm. Sylvia became involved with a state group for health freedom and parental rights, doing legislative research, while learning how to advocate for her child and work on difficult issues. Sylvia helped parents defend their schools and has been an advocate on education issues as well ever since, supporting parents throughout Michigan. Sylvia co-founded Ottawa Impact in 2021 with Joe, and since that time, Sylvia has been working with Ottawa Impact to inform and activate the people to preserve the county they love. She's advocated for county government to weigh the harms to our children inflicted by public health orders of masks and quarantines. She co-authored the resolution to end enforcement of COVID-19 orders and restore constitutional freedoms to Ottawa County. She has covered additional county issues on her blog of Ottawa Impact, including the racial equity movement and assault on American freedom. Sylvia is passionate about defending parental rights, individual freedoms, and American values, and the exercise of discernment and common sense in government. Without further ado, Sylvia Rohde.
Good evening. It's so good to be here and be with so many patriots. I am running for County Commissioner in Allendale, and I just have to say, Allendale is a community that I have just come to love. We have gone to battle together on some cultural issues over the past few years, and I just love my community there. Our community of parents and grandparents have put in the hard work of advocating to restore parental rights and constitutional freedoms to our children and county over the past 2 years. I've been honored to stand with you as we've given the Ottawa County Commissioners and Health Department every opportunity to make informed constitutional decisions on behalf of our children and businesses, even laying out a roadmap for them to do so with a resolution to restore freedom. We are a county blessed with people of courage and conviction. With such strong advocacy and community outcry, we have been surprised and disappointed by the lack of defense and leadership from our commissioners. But should we have been surprised? Are there other indications our leaders lack discernment or are out of alignment with our core beliefs? These are really important conversations to have. As a county commissioner, I will work hard to protect the things we hold dear. I love America, and I'm deeply committed to defending her. On the ballot this election, we will decide whether we are going to save America, and that starts local. I believe in the goodness of America and the goodness of our people. America is the land of systemic opportunity, built on the Constitution, Christianity, and capitalism, the opportunity that jobs provide for social uplift. We need to return our nation to our roots, which have made America exceptional, rather than apologize for them. The woke left wants us to hate America and to doubt the goodness of our people. I loved working with families of diverse backgrounds in foster care and adoption, especially doing home studies and learning the rich histories and faith of amazing people stepping in to take care of children in need. I admire conservative minority thought leaders and look to them for guidance. Individuals like Candace Owens, Vodi Bachman, Bob Woodson of 1776 Unites, 91-year-old Thomas Sowell, whose work on economics and social policy is so brilliant and relevant. T.W. Shannon running for Senate in Oklahoma, and I could go on and on. Ironically, the left, and too often the right, ignore these voices as they do not fit the left's narrative on race. America does not have a racial divide. We have an ideological divide. Ottawa County Ottawa County has been strategically targeted by the progressive left on racial and cultural issues for at least a decade, and most of us didn't know it. Our Ottawa County Commissioners, with the Lakeshore Ethnic Diversity Alliance, joined efforts as an early core member with the far-left organization of Race Forward, UC Berkeley's Othering and Belonging Institute, and the Government Alliance on Race and Equity, which is called GARE, as early as 2014. In early 2019, the commissioners established a DEI department on the recommendations of these organizations, as well as at the request of a few large local corporations. GARE and its parent organizations of Race Forward and the Othering and Belonging Institute of UC Berkeley are directly aligned with progressive cities like Portland, Seattle, and Minneapolis, the Democratic Party, Planned Parenthood, and LGBTQ activism. Race Forward even funded Black Lives Matter in its early years, around the same year as Ottawa County first aligned with these groups. Governor Whitmer's MDHHS and AG Nestle's Michigan Department of Civil Rights are also members of GARE. In 2015, Ottawa County was one of 2 pilot locations in the United States to participate in the Transforming White Privilege Project, with staff from the County Administrator's Office, Sheriff's Office, and Human Resources Office participating. More recently, Race Forward worked with the Biden administration on implementing a racial equity executive order on Biden's first day in office, which is now being implemented across federal agencies. Based on its work with GARE, which has now spread across the United States, Race Forward is now speaking into the implementation of similar work in Biden's federal government. In March, Race Forward launched a campaign to specifically combat parents defending children against CRT indoctrination and sexualization in schools, identifying Michigan and other swing states as their early states to target. The woke ideology of these groups that we have aligned with divide us by race as oppressed or oppressors based on our skin color. They assert America is built on structural racism rather than structural opportunity. They assert generational poverty needs to be fixed with the socialist value of equity rather than the American value of hard work. They indoctrinate our kids to hate our country and hate their parents who don't espouse wokeism. Locally, the county asserts minority citizens don't feel welcome as Ottawa is largely white and conservative. While stating it is merely looking to root out elusive implicit bias from county policies, our DEI office is promoting woke ideology and membership with progressive GARE through our county bureaucracy. The commissioners continue to voice their support for the work of the DEI office, which promotes GARE membership and teachings to our townships and cities, as well as across the state through the MAC conference, of which Commissioner Phil Kyers serves as president. The establishment of the DEI office in conservative Ottawa County has allowed a foothold of validity to these beliefs, and we are seeing it spread to our OAISD and local school districts. The phenomenon of the progressive left taking over such a conservative county is certainly curious and is earning the praise of local Democratic activists and progressive nonprofits. Ottawa County is historically a conservative stronghold and pivotal to Michigan elections. Michigan is pivotal to national elections. The organizations that have infiltrated Ottawa County openly discuss the importance of race politics to Democratic election efforts. The Democratic Socialist Party is living rent-free in Ottawa County at the taxpayer expense of $200,000 a year. Because we love the people and the children of our county, we want America to flourish, to be exceptional, to not sow division, but rather to love our people and see them flourish. We need to evaluate the discernment of our current leaders. We need leaders who will protect our children, our communities, and America from divisive woke ideology which tears down America and leads us down the road towards socialism, and leaders who will protect us from the overreach of government which violates constitutional freedoms. If elected, I promise to promote the exercise of courage and discernment in leadership and county government. We can defend Ottawa County. It's not too late, and we can make America great again.
I'm glad I didn't run for public office. These people are pretty tough to beat. I was going to run for the seat that Gretchen's running for, but when I found out from Joe Gretchen was running, I said, she's a better candidate. Our next speaker is Jenny Shepard Kelly. She has a passion for the Constitution, conservative values, and American history. She has been involved in the political arena for almost 10 years, working closely with conservative candidates and organizations that share the same values. She grew up in the Tri-Cities area and attended college and excelled in Division I volleyball at Charleston Southern University, while earning double bachelor's degrees in biology and kinesiology. After graduating, Jenny was drawn back to Grand Haven to raise her children near her own family in the beaches of West Michigan. Jenny is married to David Kelly and has 2 boys, 8 and 9 years old. David and Jenny are small business owners who are committed to their faith. They attend a local church, and their children attend a local Christian school. Jenny is passionate about parental rights, and we all should be. I have 6 kids. I'm passionate about parental rights. She stands on the fact that parents are the final decision maker in determining the care and education of their children. Jenny has a passion for the Constitution, and she's been involved in the political arena for almost 10 years, working closely with conservative candidates and organizations that share the same values. As a small business owner, Jenny recognizes that every business is essential, and no governing body should have the power to mandate which businesses are allowed to operate and which businesses must close. Jenny is passionate about American values, and she opposes the Marxist teachings of CRT and DEI and believes that all people are created equal and no one should be judged by the color of their skin, but instead the content of their character. Without further ado, Jenny Shepard Kelly.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the introduction, Steve. So I actually recognize a lot of people in this room. I have been working with West Michigan Republicans when they first came about, and I also worked as an event coordinator for Patrick Colbeck, if you guys remember his campaign. I was strongly involved with his campaign. I was an advocate for him, and he's the type of leader that we needed in Michigan. So after his campaign, I'm not gonna lie, I was broken. I was broken. I saw what was happening to our schools, our community, especially Grand Haven High School. That's where I attended high school, and I saw what was becoming of our entire community, and I felt like, that's it. I can't do anything further. I've said all I can do. I've put myself out there. I've tried to get the best candidates elected, and nobody's listening. Nobody shows up. Nobody listens. And then only God can bring forth something to wake people up. And that was COVID. I don't know if you guys know this, but COVID was actually a blessing. Sorry, I have all these notes. I'm not even reading them. So when it comes down to it, I looked at, when COVID started, I have 2 boys. They're at Grand Haven Christian, and at first it didn't really affect my little school. I was like, well, suckers, you know what? Have fun at public school with your mask and whatever. And so I was all like, I'm fine, everything's great, and then all of a sudden, they were like, nope, it's gonna affect everyone. Now, that's when I was like, that's it! I'm suing them all. and finding lawyers' names. I'm calling Great Lakes over there. I'm literally doing everything I can to take people out at the knees. And the truth is that, there was a great speaker that I just listened to, and I read his book. You take them out at the knees by taking their jobs. And right now, we need to take every single one of these jobs. So I suddenly was becoming a part of this Ottawa Impact group. They called me, I said, and I was still distraught at the time. I had been asked to run for school board. I had been asked to run for state rep at one point, and I've always declined because I said, you know what, I am not a good candidate. I have put myself out there. Everybody knows I'm this right-wing, crazy conservative. You can look all over my social media. It's out there. So people don't elect people like that. That's what I thought. I'm not electable. And then something has changed. People are waking up. They are waking up. And I am finally seeing that people like me, people who have the natural, outspoken, courageous ability to tell the truth, are the ones that people want now. So here I am. Ottawa Impact contacts me, and I just said, all right, let me pray about it. Let me pray about it, and I'll talk to my husband. My husband's like, oh, honey, do what you want, because that's what he does. He knows I'm going to do what I want anyway. So my husband's amazing. He is he's so strong and he's so courageous, but really he lets me do all the talking because that's what I do. But yeah, he was, I'll back you. We'll make it happen. Let's change the world. And I said, okay, well, let me just pray about it. So I've been praying about it, and I just kept coming back to it. And they kept calling me, saying we don't have a candidate. And then they said we do have a candidate. And then they said that we don't have a candidate. So I was like, all right, fine, I'm your candidate. So here I am. And, this country has tolerated just apologetics for too long. We've all been apathetic, and it has finally turned to the point where we realize that we've been apathetic to the point of detriment. And here we are, we've got this panel. I don't even know, I'm not even in a league with these people, but I am strong. I will fight. I have 2 boys, and they're white, and I don't want them growing up. The last thing I need is them growing up and being taught to apologize for who they are. I can't handle it anymore. So, yeah, I'm running. I wouldn't say that I have all the credentials, but I would say that I have the heart for it. I have the fight for it. And I'm not scared of the woke liberal mob. That was the #1 question. Are you scared? Aren't they going to come after you? I'm like, what are they going to do? They're going to try to take my business? Good luck. Going to try to take my kids away? Good luck. I'm a bear. So, no, but really, I think all of us are. I've spoken with each and every single one of these people. They're amazing. And I just feel blessed to be a part of this amazing group. And vote for me. Okay, I read none of this. I'm sorry.
Go figure, each speaker's better. How can this happen? I have to apologize to Roger Belnap. I've tried to be organized. It's my ADD, but I missed Roger. I didn't flip the page quick enough, so he's our next guy. Roger's grateful for the freedom and opportunity afforded to American citizens and is seeking involvement to preserve our heritage of religious, educational, health, and economic freedoms for current and future generations. Roger's a lifelong West Michigan resident, currently residing in Grand Haven Township. The Belnap family attends Lakeshore Baptist Church in Grand Haven and is active in homeschooling and other various church programs and sport leagues. Professionally, Roger has over 20 years in public service experience, most recently working for the Michigan Department of Transportation as the Transportation Asset Management Council Program Coordinator. He has a strong infrastructure planning and management background gained while working as the Public Works Director for both the City of Cedar Springs and the Village of Spring Lake. He also worked for the Kent County Road Commission as a transportation planner, and community development initiatives are one of his fortes. Roger earned both a bachelor's and master's degrees in public administration, and over the course of his career obtained licenses for municipal water supply operations and other vocational achievements. Roger is grateful for the freedom and opportunity afforded to American citizens and is seeking involvement to preserve our heritage of religious, educational, health, and economic freedoms for current and future generations. Roger Belnap.
Dear friends, family, patriots of Ottawa County. Last week, I was talking to a gentleman that owns a landscape company in Ottawa County. This guy was big, tall, country strong, the kind of guy you would expect that owns a landscape company and picks up trees and moves them. He probably moves them with his bare hands. Without hesitation and without blinking, he looked at me, he looked down at me, straight in the eye, and he said, "Roger, why should I vote for you?" Wow, this campaign business can be intimidating. I fully admit that I was flat-footed at the time he posed a question. My initial response probably left him in doubt of my qualifications. I will not make that mistake again. I'm here to tell you all tonight, I have 3 reasons why you should vote for me as your county commissioner. Reason number 1, I stand against administrative overreach. Our voices have been ignored for too long. Our freedoms as parents and business owners and employees have been trampled on. This ends August 2nd. I'm sure most of you know this, but there is a system in place. Our Board of Commissioners have been installing a conduit of tyranny in our schools, churches, businesses, institutions for some time. This tyranny has many names. I call it Administrative Policy Weapon, or APW, because I love my acronyms. I worked for MDOT. The administrative policy weapon is capable of inflicting anxiety and depression upon our students, anger among our business owners, and fear among our elderly and at-risk populations. It removes confidence and commitment from employee-employer relationships. It works to sow discord among people of different race, gender, age, religion, etc. It attends every doctor's appointment with you. It rides on the transit bus right alongside you wherever you go. The APW seeks to put you in a convenient place and keep you there. But there are a growing number of people that are standing against AWP. I'm sure you've seen them out in public, maybe at your work, moms, grandmothers, the crazy guy that lives a couple houses down. They don't just drive pickups anymore. Some of them drive Priuses. A lot of them are vegan. And I stand with them. Reason number 2, I'm equipped and I'm qualified. I recognize APW and I have been institutionally trained in it. It just didn't take with me. I'm not a career politician, and nor is it my desire to be. I suppose you could say I'm a civil servant. I have 22 years experience serving the people of Michigan, working at the county, village, city, and most recently, the state level. I was an hourly worker in program management, but I'm too sexy for that gig. I understand the importance of our public infrastructure, how our homes, businesses, schools, and institutions are built upon the foundations of roads, safe and affordable drinking water and sewer systems, the importance of customer service and delivering these systems. I'm troubled by the decline of accountability and performance of service delivery. I've witnessed a large exodus of good people leaving the public sector as APW advances a soulless, careless, and arrogant environment. It is clear that policy has become more important than people. Compliance has become more important than outcome, and the narrative more important than the facts. This is a weapon. It has chain-locked private school doors. It has arrested the small restaurant owner. You didn't pay for it with your taxes, at least not entirely. Nor is it native to Ottawa County. Like Asian carp, Phragmites, the emerald ash borer, it's an invasive species capable of choking out precious Ottawa County produce. And to the veterans in the audience, you didn't enlist to fight this, did you? Reason number 3, I'm a fighter and I'm an overcomer. This is my homeland. Freedom is my birthright. I was raised in Ottawa County. I went to school in Ottawa County. I've worked in and with Ottawa County. I choose to live and raise my kids in Ottawa County. There's no other place I want to be. Growing up here has afforded me many opportunities in life, freedom of enterprise, and an abundance of natural resources, strong churches, strong families. The heritage of Ottawa County is the blueprint for opportunity, and it has been for many generations. This truly is the promised land. This is why our county is the fastest growing in Michigan and the fastest growing regions in the nation. Yet here we are tonight as patriots, meeting, called upon to defend this heritage. We all have mountains in our way. We all have storms in life that rain down on us at times. We fight through these times by surrounding ourselves with family, friends. We seek God's voice for courage and direction. We do this together. Therefore, it is my absolute privilege to stand in the gap with you and for you, locking arms with Gretchen, Jacob, Joe, Rebecca, Sylvia, Jenny, and Allison. If you've been told to sit down and mask up, if you've been told you don't understand, I'm sorry, that's a policy, or you're out of time, you know, I've been there. I'm on your side. To the mandates, requirements, propaganda, I'm saying no more. Will you say it with me? No more. If you are ready for competent, yet humble, and patriot leadership, won't you join us in choosing vetted Republicans on August 2nd? My name is Roger Belnap, and this is why you should vote for me.
If this group was a sports team, I'd say you got a deep bench. Last but not least is Alison Miedema. She became involved in politics when she noticed the rights of parents and children, along with the everyday American citizen, were being neglected, abused, and overstepped by the government in response to COVID-19. Alison has a teaching degree from Grand Valley State University with a master's degree in early childhood education. She's taught preschool for 21 years, primarily in Ottawa County, in the public school system and at a private school. She's taught in a traditional classroom setting and a nature-based setting. Alison became involved in politics when she noticed the rights and parents of children were being neglected. Due to the government overreach in schools, which violated her own personal conscience and spiritual convictions, she resigned her much-loved position as a teacher in August 2021. That's moral courage. During the past 2 years, Alison has invested time learning about how our nation was founded. She understands the government must work for the people to protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for citizens. She prioritizes freedom, the Constitution, and parental rights. Alison has been involved with Ottawa Impact and continues to follow God's leading throughout this next chapter. Without further ado, Alison Miedema.
Good evening. What a privilege it is to be here tonight with you. Thank you for coming, for being part of what I see as a big needed change here coming to Ottawa County. When we stand together with God by our side, there is nothing He cannot do through us. He asks for our obedience. He does the directing. We do the following. Hard, yet simple. So who am I? My name is Alison Miedema. First, I'm a child of the one true King, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He is why I'm even here, getting the opportunity to chat with you tonight. I am who He says I am. I'm married to my best friend, Brent, almost 22 years now. I'm extremely thankful for him. I'm also mom to a terrific boy, almost a teenager. I'm a teacher with a master's in early childhood, and for the past 22 years, God has allowed me to teach some of the most precious children here, preschool children in Ottawa County. And for the past 6 years, I taught at a local Christian school. And in that time teaching them, they in turn have taught me in profound ways. Jesus says, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." I tell you the truth, unless you become like a little child, you can have no part of the kingdom of God. So what have little children taught me? Well, a few things they've taught me are, they have a simple, trusting faith. They're playful. They have a great need, a dependency on others to provide for all their needs. They take delight in the simple things, slowing down to notice someone or something. They're not worried what others think. They mimic or they copy you. They want to be like their parent. They delight in soaking in their parent's voice or their face. Being involved with children, both as a parent as well as a teacher, is one of the highest roles, yet one that requires a ton of responsibility and duty. Did you hear some of those things about children? They have a simple, trusting faith. They have a great need of dependency on adults to care for them. They mimic and copy us. These are things God has taught me through them that I take very seriously. Throughout 2020 through 2022, it became very apparent that the freedoms of children, their parents, and really the everyday American citizen were being violated. Decisions that belonged in the hands of individual families were taken into the hands of our government. I became privy to numerous first-hand accounts of government overstep and tyranny, and I noticed that those who could not speak up for themselves were being deeply affected. A great number of our county's residents, parents, and yes, some children were moved to speak against some of these oversteps. However, sadly, many who were entrusted with the opportunity to represent these folks did little to change this bureaucracy. The stories that I witnessed on a regular basis deeply affected me and created in me a cry out to God. One particular morning this past August found me awake in bed the middle of the night with tears over these children, parents that didn't know what to do, and administrators that found themselves in spots they never guessed they would be in. The mandates in Ottawa County were again placed on our children in the school setting. I heard God speak to my heart to come and spend time with Him on that particular summer morning. After a couple of precious hours with Him, I again heard God in a non-audible voice that He was asking me to resign from a job I loved. Over the past 2 years, I have become very interested in learning the history and founding of our Christian Republic of the United States and the patterns of what happens when a nation's chasing after God or gods. God has led me to a better understanding of freedom from His own heart as well. I used to think that history was sort of boring until I began to read and understand history through His story. That is, God's story. Ever since the beginning of time as we know it, God has had freedom as the way He desired His people to be. In the Old Testament of the Bible, there's a man named Moses. God had been hearing His people cry out to Him in slavery in Egypt. Moses is sent to begin the rescue from the king or the Pharaoh. And as God's people are rescued and freed from slavery in Egypt, He begins showing them, reminding them that if they continue to seek him, to obey him, to put him in charge and not themselves, to love God with all their hearts, soul, mind, and strength, that he will continue to provide freedom and a beautiful way of living instead of a life of tyranny. In the New Testament, God chose to send his only beloved son, Jesus, into this world. And then he willingly gave up his life to take away our sins. But he did not stay dead. On the third day, he arose from the dead and appeared to many. He is now seated at the right hand of God the Father, and he's waiting to come back for one final rescue, to bring all those who love him, accept him as their Lord and Savior, to heaven to live forever with him. What blows my mind is that God lovingly pursues each one of us, yet ultimately he gives us the freedom to choose his son. The founders of America were committed to building our nation with God at the center. The reason for America's past greatness is God. It is my prayer, alongside many others, that the fruits of revival will so burn within our hearts that the eyes of the whole world will be on us and say, may God do for us in our nation what he's done again here in America. In order for this to happen, we need to realize that for the last 150 years, we've fallen away from the original American covenant of our founders. A knowledge of Americans' Christian history makes it possible to discern fundamental answers to current problems in our nation. The beauty of America's heritage is that our founders provided a plan for a nation with true liberty and justice for all, including the believer in God and the unbeliever. Now is the time here in America to stand up for our God-given rights. For many years, we have been passively standing by, and of course, it's putting more and more power into the hands of the government when our founders took the time to give the power to the people with limits on the government. When we're allowed our freedoms and responsibility as individuals, our nation actually experiences more prosperity, is better prepared for challenges, and honestly, the ability to enjoy the life God has given to each of us. So going back to the August morning, I told God that I knew he was calling me to resign from my job, even though I did not understand everything. I told him I would do anything. I'd go wherever he may call me. Little did I know that he would be calling me to run for county commissioner. It was not in my plans. When you have the affirmation of God's nudging and those doors remain open, the answer is, yes, God, lead me. So where does it have me now? God has continued to pour into me a heart for his people. I have a great desire to stand up to tyranny, to stand up against anything that goes against God's loving rules for his people, to restore the rights of the people back where they belong, to make the government work for the people, not the people for the government. Will I have things to learn? Absolutely. Do I know the one who does the equipping? Yes. It is through these lenses that I seek to have the opportunity to represent the people of this country through my district, District 11. With God leading me and continuing to lean on him, I will stand courageously and will work for him and his people. For with God by our side, who can stand against us? Thank you for being here tonight. I look forward to more time in the back. I'm way in the back little corner to the left there. It's indeed an honor I do not take lightly.
Let's give another round of applause to our candidates. Aren't they exceptional? We still have some things to finish up. At this point, where we remind you, freedom isn't free. We love putting on these forums, but we have expenses. We appreciate your generosity. We have two sources of funds, donations and membership. And we encourage you to look at our board at the back, consider becoming a member. Some of our members are also a member of Ottawa Impact. You know, you don't have just one source of news. You usually have more than one. You can join more than one organization that has similar values, and sometimes that makes them all stronger. Our mission is pretty clear, and it fits nicely with Ottawa Impact. Our mission is to promote awareness and understanding of American government, the free enterprise system, traditional American values, and related political or civic issues through education and citizen involvement. What we're doing here tonight is exactly what our mission tells us we should do. Partner with groups like yours, educate the community, and then challenge them to do something about it. So be generous. We appreciate your support, and we'll continue to put on more forums like this. Also at the back, because we don't get much coverage from the Sentinel anymore, at the back we have our next 3 meetings on this little sheet of paper. Well, they're kind of a liberal rag. I didn't say that. Next month we're doing cybersecurity, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We got some great speakers, and Justin Barkley's going to be here. It'll be a good night, and we'll help you deal with your issues individually and collectively for your personal technology, stuff at church, stuff at work. Tuesday, June 21st, we're doing the Second Amendment, Under Attack and Fighting Back. That'll be a great meeting. We have some great speakers. I'm trying to entice Mr. Coleman to consider being one of our speakers, too. And we're going to be giving away $400 or $500. We have a donor that's giving us a pledge of $400 or $500 toward a handgun of your choice at a local gun dealer. So it's going to be a pretty interesting meeting. And then July 19th, before the primary, we're going to have some kind of a GOP pep rally candidate forum. We haven't got it all worked out yet. It'll be fun, and it'll be great, and it'll be high energy. So those are our next 3 meetings, and then we're taking August off. Even God got a day off, you know. We're taking August off to vacation, but we're back in full force in September. Yeah. Yeah, we have these on the seats. If you're not on our mailing list or you're not a member and you want to get regular notices, just fill this out and either put it in the offering. It might not fit in the offering, but just drop them at the table at the back by Jeff. We've got these every other seat. So if you're not a member, but you do want to get contacted, fill this out and just drop it off at the back table by Jeff there. Now the next part is similar to what we did at our last candidate forum. We're going to have each of the candidates, they're all going to come up here, so Gretchen, get them on up. And they're going to get 2 minutes to give you kind of their takeaway from this meeting tonight. And we're going to do it in the same order that we spoke before, except I'm not going to screw up and put Roger in the wrong order this time. So we're going to start, if we get all the candidates up here, because we're going to go kind of rapid fire. So if you're all up here, and then I'll just call your name, you come up and you got 2 minutes. Timer's ready? Okay.
Ready? Yes, you can be my neighbor.
Starting with Gretchen Cosby.
Hi, District 1 for Ottawa County Commissioner. And yes, I do have a primary, so please get out the vote. Get out and vote. Get your friends out to vote on August 2nd, 2022. So I want to thank you, a big thank you to Steve. Ottawa Impact, of course, the Ottawa Board, I'm sorry, the Ottawa Patriots Board of Commissioners, no, not
Board of
those.
Directors.
Board of Directors, thank you. See, I can't do things extemporaneously as well as I'd like to. But I want to say slate of 8. That was really, this was a profound moment in my lifetime, truly, truly. I feel incredibly blessed to be a part of this organization. And we are changing, and we need all of you to vote for us to change what's happening in our county, this beautiful West Michigan. So just to conclude here, I am a canvasser, and I am a citizen of Ottawa County. I am not a liar or a domestic terrorist. None of us out there are. I am a nurse with a master's degree in science, so I can follow the science. And I am a leader with 30 years of experience. And above all else, I am a listener. I promise, if elected to District 1 Ottawa County Commissioner, I will listen. I will listen by tearing down that plexiglass with the help of my friends here. We're going to open the doors to the meetings and let the people in. We're going to establish lines of communication. And I will answer your phone calls, and I will respond to your emails. Then based on everything that I learned from you, I'll provide leadership by asking hard questions of agency leadership, both elected and the unelected. Furthermore, I plan to use my medical and business experience to properly lead finance and administration, health and human services, talent and recruitment, planning and policy. In other words, work for you to make Ottawa County great again. Thank you. I think I took your stuff.
Jacob Bonama, 2 minutes.
I want to tell you why you need to be brave with your neighbors, your friends, your family. There was a recent poll that was done by the Ottawa County Commissioners to find out what's going on in the minds of the citizens in the county. Would you believe that there's been an 18-point drop in optimism about living in Ottawa County, that we're going in the right direction since the last time they took the poll? And that was before a lot of this stuff hit the fan, okay? Your neighbors are concerned, just like you are. We need to be brave, we need to be bold, we need to be engaging with one another, we need to be continually waking each other up, talking about this, because as soon as they learn about it, you're going to find out that they think a lot like you. So please, we cannot do this without you. We're standing up here, we're stepping forward. We need you with us, shoulder to shoulder, just like these guys, okay? My wife brought this prayer to me this morning, and it's from Winston Churchill. You know, we're not the first people to face times where I feel like our freedoms are being attacked. You know, Winston did that. So if you would just bow your heads and pray with me for a minute, I want to repeat one of his prayers. Lord Jesus, help us run the race in this life while we look to you for strength and encouragement. We acknowledge that the course laid out before us hasn't changed. The conditions have simply become uncomfortable and unfavorable. Therefore, Holy Spirit, fill us afresh and anew as we set our faces toward the mark and run with endurance for the sake of humanity. Amen. I'm running for Zealand. Please come talk to me. I'm in that corner right over there. Thank you.
Next speaker, Joe Moss. 2 minutes.
This right here is why I got involved. This is what leadership looks like. This is what being proactive looks like. And this is what critical thought looks like. The time that has been put into these presentations is impressive, I can tell. The dedication and the seriousness of these individuals, wanting not only to do well, but to serve well. I heard that they wanted to listen well over and over tonight. So I am excited to move into this election season. I would like us as a community to thank our current Board of Commissioners for their many years of service and give them the honor that is due and help them find something else to do. And it may sound a little funny, but it's serious. So please, talk to your neighbors. Support these new leaders for liberty who are standing up, and share the message of freedom and of the bright future that Ottawa County has, especially with these people's involvement. So thank you. And I want to say one last thank you to the many volunteers who help and serve Ottawa Impact and the Patriots, who give of their time late into the night, since nobody is on staff. There's no staff for Ottawa Impact, but we have amazing volunteers. So thank you. You know who you are.
Next up, Rebecca Curran.
I'm excited. I'm telling you, there's a wave that is coming across this country, and it is going to be a red wave, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you, each and every one of us, we are not going to back down. We will never surrender, and they're going to have to come and take it. I came up from Texas, and we say down there, come and take it. We're not giving it up, folks. We are going to fight for this country. I've spent the last decade fighting for the country, fighting for our Constitution, fighting for parental authority and parental rights. I'm going to continue to do that. This is just the beginning. I did all of my fighting in supporting candidates, and I am so honored to have the opportunity to be the person to fight for you and fight alongside of you. So with that said, I just cannot express my gratitude to Joe, to Steve, to all of you who have done your part. Thank you. Go out, recruit more people to do their part, tell them what they need to do, make sure that you're bringing them alongside you to fight for this country and to fight for the values and to do what we have to do to ensure the future of our children and our children's children. Again, my name is Rebecca Curran. I'm running for County Commissioner District 7 in Jenison, which is Georgetown Township. I just want to thank you all. Have a great night.
Next up, Sylvia Rohde.
Thanks so much for coming tonight. I'm Sylvia Rohde, running in Allendale. And I just want to remind you one more time tonight that America is an exceptional nation, and you are good people. And don't allow anyone to tell you otherwise or to tell your children otherwise. You know, part of what's going on is a concept called intersectionality, where the more oppressed traits that you have, the really the greater value you're given. And the more oppressor traits that you have, the worse of a person you are. And our kids are hearing these things. And so the people who have the most oppressor traits would be white, Christian, male, identifying as the gender you're born with, and being being heterosexual. And so these things are really weighing heavy on our kids. We need to stop this movement of this ideology on every front in our county, every front. It's not acceptable that it has taken root in our county. And it has spread, and it matters. Also, our parental rights and our individual freedoms that we're so passionate about, those come from God. And that's why they weigh so heavy on our hearts. So I am so proud to stand with you guys in fighting for these things. And they will never go away. They will never fade in our hearts, and we will never give up. I would treasure your vote in August, and I would just like to remind you to encourage all your friends and neighbors to vote on August 2nd because it's critical. Thank you.
Next up, Roger Belnap.
This is an impressive team. Just in one evening, I've learned so much from this group. I'm really excited about the weeks, months, years ahead. Life is a journey. We continue to learn every day as long as we keep our eyes open. I think there's a spirit of humility and just courage in the room tonight. And I know that is because we heard a lot of truth tonight. So my name is Roger Belnap, representing District 9, which is Grand Haven Township, Robinson Township, and a small chunk of Spring Lake Township. And I'm just grateful for your time, and you could be a million different places, and you're here tonight. So I really appreciate your time here. I appreciate Steve and your team and all the work that you guys have done to put this together. And Joe and the rest of you guys, awesome. I'm just humbled and just so excited. Thank you, everybody.
Next up, Jenny Shepard Kelly.
So I have a lot more to say because I didn't say anything on my notes. but essentially, it was like ditto. You know, I found people. There's something to be said about finding your people, right? It's you find your group, and it's like, man, I just found my people. So I'm running in District 10. I live in Grand Haven, City of Grand Haven, City of Spring Lake, and City of Ferrisburg. If you guys have questions for me, even, you know, you just want to pray with me or pray over me, that would be great. Because we all need prayers so much. I am running against a really strong incumbent, and I'm going to need a lot of volunteers and help. So I'm just putting that out there. So if you guys feel driven to help, that would be great. And just come talk to me. I'm back there. I'm an open book, clearly. So, all right, thanks.
Next, Alison Miedema.
August 2, August 2, August 2. Such an important date to put on your calendars and tell everyone about them. Also, just want to say District 11, I'm looking forward to talking to anyone here from there tonight or who has friends and family from District 11, which includes Talmadge Township, it's Crockery, Polkton, Wright Township, the city of Coopersville. It has like Lamont and Eastmanville in it. So it's the northern part of Ottawa County that stretches quite a bit of land there. So I'll be doing a lot of driving this summer. One of my current favorite Bible verses is from 2 Timothy 1, verse 7. For God did not give us a spirit of timidity, but a spirit of power, of love, and of self-discipline. It's time to put courageous leaders that stand in God's armor. I will boldly stand and serve in preserving and protecting the freedoms and values that make Ottawa County special. And I am passionate about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These civil liberties are not reduced or suspended in times of crisis. I will actively oppose, not enforce unconstitutional orders imposed in such times by a governor, a state, or a local agency. Parents know best how to raise and care for their children, and God does give parents the responsibilities which are protected by the First and 14th Amendment to the Constitution. Each of the candidates here tonight, including myself, have been vetted by Ottawa Impact, and we have signed a contract of accountability. If you haven't looked yet, I encourage you to check it out on Ottawa Impact's website. You can read at length our position statement on the important issues at stake. And I'll end with two short quotes by Ronald Reagan. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We did not pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Freedom prospers when religion is vibrant and the rule of law under God is acknowledged. Thank you.
A couple closing words and then I charge the audience to do something. We have a deep bench, no question. Excellent candidates. They're standing up for what they believe. You need to talk to them. What's right isn't always popular, and what's popular isn't always right. That makes a good bumper sticker, but it's also a good way to look at the world. It's important to stand up for what's right, even if you're the only one doing it. These people are prepared to do that. At heart, this is a parental rights movement. That's what got this whole thing going. Children are a gift from the Lord. We're called to raise godly children. It's pretty hard to do, raising them in a cesspool culture. So that's what this is at heart. You've aggravated parents. You've gone after their children. Not a smart thing to do. And that's why I agree with some of the speakers. There's going to be a wave election this time. People are waking up. And people do need to stand up for what they believe in, or they're going to live forever on their knees bowing to political and cultural tyranny. We've said that before here, and we'll continue to say it. If we all stand up, there's more of us than there is of them that are destroying our culture and our nation. We have two focuses of the Patriots. One, we try to educate you, we give you facts and truth, we don't stint on that, we bring in the best speakers we can, but then we always charge you at the end of the night. It's not enough to hear a few good speakers. You got to take action. You have to do something. Tonight you have some good opportunities. One, go and talk to the candidates. Find out what kind of help they need. Find out if you live in their district. That's job one. Another thing you can do, we always have petitions here. We have Unlock Michigan 2, and we have the Secure My Vote. Now, a lot of you have signed them, but check. Those are critical importance because they claw back from government some of the power they've usurped illegally frequently, and it puts them under the rule of law and says your power is going to be limited. If government has unlimited power, it becomes tyranny. And that's where we're headed, folks, right now. David knows very well because he fights those battles all the time of government officials, even courts, that are overreaching and trampling on our freedoms. You have to fight back. Signing a petition is a pretty easy thing to do. Get involved with Ottawa Impact. They have memberships. We have memberships. Join both groups. Together we can do more, and we will. Buy Jim Simpson's book on communism and the roots of many of today's problems. They're all interconnected. They're not mushrooms that sprung up after a heavy rain. This stuff has been going on for many years, decades, and it's interconnected. Black Lives Matter isn't a spontaneous civil rights movement. It's a Marxist thing. And so many things. Critical race theory has been around for 80 years. It's communist doctrine. It's just got new sprinkles on it. Jim Simpson's book is one of the best I've ever read on communism and Marxism, and I read a lot. Become informed and take action to defend your faith, family, and freedom. If you don't do it, who will? And for those of us that are older, it may not be for you and your kids, but it's going to be for your grandkids. What kind of world do you want them to grow up in? If you don't get involved now, by the time the forces of darkness take over everything, it'll be too late. If you act now, there's still time. We can make a difference. We can elect some top-notch people to the county commission and change our county commission. And then I'll be talking with Joe about what's next. School boards, city hall. You know, this is just the beginning. It's not the end. But we need to make a good beginning, and we need your help to do it. Everybody can do something. Everybody must do something. I really applaud you for coming out tonight on a pretty nice night and spending time here. You're doing the right thing. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming, and make sure to go and visit the candidates. And don't forget to say hi to our friend David Coleman. He's the guy that fights for your freedoms. If you're a homeschooler, go and kiss his feet. David's the reason you can homeschool. If you had a kid in school that was on a sport team and had a scholarship, and they were told you got to get all these shots or you're not going to be able to keep your scholarship, David's fighting those battles for your kids. This man is a champion and a hero. Go thank David and encourage him, because he's still fighting those battles that we can't fight. We're not high-powered lawyers, but David is, and he's fighting those battles every day. Thank him for the freedom that he's clawing back from corrupt government officials. So, thank you for coming. Thanks for coming tonight.